Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Zoom today. We've got Janeen Jackson with us, and I'm so excited to have her. She's in Chicago. I'm in Seattle, and we're just so excited to be here on this call with her because she has some really exciting news to share with us, and we're going to be in conversation with her about her brand new children's book with these amazing illustrations. We are sponsored by two groups. One is the This MPE Life, which is a Facebook group with over 2,000 members that I created about 3 years ago. All of us in the group have a shock in our DNA from an over-the-counter DNA test. And we're also sponsored by a new registered nurses organization, all volunteer, all nurses, called NPIN. NPIN is, it's basically a new nursing volunteer group with really an interesting group of people advising with new resources for anyone that's an NPE, not parent expected, donor conceived, or late discovery adoptee. NPE stands for not parent expected. That's sort of the simple term for that. And so we are a collective bunch of registered nurses, as I said, professionals, all volunteering to support the needs of those navigating DNA surprises. We work to identify and understand the unique interests and the needs of NPE clients. We deliver care with the goal of supporting such clients through the community with mental health resources. Many among our team have personally experienced an NPE event, such as myself and such as Janeen. Janeen, I want to share a little bit about you. You have such an interesting life story, and I will let you discuss some of that. But folks need to know that you were a longtime resident in Santa Monica, California, and you just recently moved in 2022 to Evanston, Illinois, with your husband Ron and your two sons, Tyson and Phoenix. I like those two names, by the way. Those are pretty cool. Janeen received her BA from Norfolk State University and completed her master's in education, leadership, and change in 2020 at Antioch University in Los Angeles. She has over 25 combined years experience in art, design, and photography, along with equity and justice in education. Currently, Janeen works at Oakton College as an equity coordinator to Black students' success. Welcome, Janeen. I'd love for you to take some time to begin with to share. Let's get back to where we're at. I always do this to myself. I have to find my notes, which is always a problem as I get older, where you look for your notes and get started. Can you share a bit about your late discovery adoptee story that inspired your children's book?
Absolutely. First, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. It has been an incredible journey. Ever since I found out I had received my DNA surprise, and I'm really happy, Alesia, that you and I were able to connect and form a friendship in the past year. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And here I go. So yes, in 2017 or 2018, end of 2017, I took a DNA test for fun. And in 2018, when I received the results, I found out that not only was I adopted, but I was mixed race, and I was also in foster care. And so when I tried to explain that story to my children, my youngest son, who was 5 years old at the time, had a really difficult time trying to understand the story. And so I developed this story, Hello, Sweet Baby, as a creative way to help him understand differences, to understand adoption, and to understand the whole process the best way that I knew how. And I was inspired also because when I told him at the time, we were at his school and there was a little garden in his class, literally a kindergarten, and he's in kindergarten. And I looked over at the vine or at the garden, and I saw this vine that had these two little tomatoes, a yellow one and a red one. And at the bottom, there was a tiny little tomato that had fallen from the vine. And I told him, I was like, Mommy, life is just like those tomatoes. We are different, but we're the same. And with the help of the garden friends and a ladybug, they'll help me find a new home. And so that's how this story was developed.
That is so cool. You know, you're right, Janine. We met, I guess it was last year we met, and we just had an instant connection when we met. And it was, you know, we have mutual DNA stories, so we understand each other. And we've always said that, you know, like those of us that have went through these shocks, we get each other. And that's why we're so important as a community to come together. You have a beautiful personality. You're just infectious. I just love you. We're excited, very excited about the premiere of your first children's book, Hello, Sweet Baby, An Adoption Journey. Please tell us where we can find it and how we can order it, and also share about your process of, you know, bringing this lovely creation to fruition.
Absolutely. The book will be launching next week. On the 22nd of August. So I'm really, really excited. And it's available on Amazon, anywhere you can buy major books. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, just type in my name, Janeen Jackson, because I think the title, Hello, Sweet Baby, An Adoption Journey, is a little long, but Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and indie books, which I strongly recommend that you support independent bookstores.
Yeah.
The book will also be available at many libraries worldwide. And if it's not in your local library, on the Amazon website, you'll see the ISBN number. I strongly recommend that you ask that this book, recommend this book for the children's literature section. So that's where you can find my book. Pre-order your copy now. But again, as I mentioned earlier, my inspiration was just trying to help my youngest son really understand the adoption process. I remember when I started telling him about adoption, I could tell he thought I was talking about adoption because we were going to adopt a puppy. And when he found out that that wasn't happening, he was disappointed, but then I tried to explain to him about my adoption journey, and he was a little confused. It's really hard to explain to children at that age about adoption, because when I told him, he thought that he was adopted. He thought, well, if you're adopted, then I'm adopted. And I had to explain to him that it didn't work that way. And then when I told him that, okay, so, you're always asking me, why is mommy's skin complexion so much different than yours? My son is darker than I am. And I had a really difficult time trying to explain that to him. And again, that story literally came from my heart as I looked at this garden. And when I did that and I saw how easy it was to explain this to him, I knew that this story, not only writing it would help me heal, but also I thought it was a story that would help others have a creative way in which you can explain adoption.
Yes. In the book itself, in the forward of the book, you said you created, as you just mentioned here, to explain your adoption story to your son Phoenix. Can you talk to us also about your diverse background and how that was, with talking to him?
Absolutely. So up until I was 46 years old, I never thought about where I came from. Both of my parents who adopted me are Black American. And, as a lot of us know, Black Americans come in so many skin tones. And so I never really thought about it. Throughout my life, I did have a few questions about why I was so fair, but my grandmother was just as fair as I was. So, but then when I took this DNA test to help build the family tree with my brother, and I said, Ashkenazi Jew, Hungarian, wow, Polish, what's happening? I was told I was part Native American. I didn't see any Native. I was really, really confused. And so now I know that I am of Jewish descent and of Black American descent. And so that's my diverse background. I found that I was biracial. However, I don't really identify as biracial because I didn't live a life as a biracial person. I do know that I am, but there are a lot of complications that come in that territory that I did not have to navigate through in my life.
That's quite a story, and I'll just, have to tell you, we have some kinship with this. I found out I was half Jewish. Absolutely no idea whatsoever. I didn't know even the beginning of anything with the Jewish world, and so it's been
Absolutely.
quite a journey for me now. It's been almost 10 years for me. So I can
Oh,
imagine,
wow.
what that felt like to you. Without getting too deep into your book, I don't want to go into the whole story, but we want to take some time to share a few little tidbits from it. Can you share a few important and worthy things to note? Like, you start the reader with a young in love couple, these tomatoes. Uh, who
Absolutely.
who is this couple? I want our audience to know about who this couple is.
So would you mind if I shared my screen for a couple of pages?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm hoping I'm not hitting the wrong button. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we are. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
great.
perfect. So this is my cover. First, I just want to give a big shout out to my illustrator, Brittany. She was a gem to work with, and she was able to tap into my brain and help me execute my vision. So I'm so grateful for her. But yes, the book starts off with these two young tomatoes. The yellow tomato is my birth father. You can't really tell on the screen, but when you get the book, you'll see he has little braces to signify that he's young, and my birth mother. And so they are the characters in the story. And I spend a little bit of time on them. It just talks about how they were loved and they created a baby tomato. And I'll be honest, when my son saw this book, at first he was like, uh-oh, I see what's going on here. And we kind of giggled and laughed, and then we went straight into the story. And then let's see, let me just go to another page. Here in the story, you can see where I have here, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but you can see the different stages of growth. So, time is going on. They're trying to make this decision. They're really sad, and they realize they're so young, they're not able to give this tomato the life that they feel that they want her to have. And so, so they decide we're gonna just place her in adoption. And so the moment they say that, then this ladybug, his name is Ladybug Blue. He's the adoption agent of the garden, and he's been doing this for a while, and he's here to help them to find Sweet Baby Red, a forever home. And I want to let you know that I've named my character Sweet Baby Red because as I was writing this book, so I already had the story, but as I was writing this book, I was trying to figure it out, like tomato 1, tomato 2, yellow tomato, red, it just was too much. But I wrote this during the pandemic, and my sons and I were creating a garden, and the only tomatoes that were available at our local nursery during the pandemic was a tomato plant called Sweet Baby Girl Tomato. And so I said, oh, that's what I should call my character, Sweet Baby. She's Sweet Baby Girl, Sweet Baby Red.
I love that. It's so funny because, there's so many like flowers and tomatoes and any vegetables, they have different names and specific, sometimes from particular areas of the country, it's really interesting. In the book, you mention where the couple went to, the tomato couple, for help. Hopewell. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I have a little bit of Easter eggs throughout my book. One of them is Hopewell. So my birth parents are from Hopewell, New Jersey. And so I thought that the setting should take place in Hopewell. And that's where I came up with the name. So a lot of the things that I have, or as I said, like these little Easter eggs, are in there for me as a nod to this journey in my life.
Okay, that's very interesting. I love that you did I like the little tidbits so that you have
Little tidbits.
I know it's kind of cool, so you can, as you're sharing this story, and I'm sure more people will be contacting you, you'll be like able to share these particular things, how they equate to your own life story. So in regards to the couple, they're getting the help they need, and you have Ladybug Blue. Can you tell me about Ladybug Blue and about why, the challenges you bring up about challenges of finding a new home for the baby? Can you talk to us a little bit about that for the tomato? I called it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to share just one more page because I see a few more people that have come on so they can just get a visual. This is the last page I'll share, but this is where Mama Red and Papa Yellow have agreed to allow Ladybug Blue to search. And so Ladybug Blue is really excited. Ladybug Blue has been doing this for a while. I mentioned here that Ladybug Blue has matched carrots and onions and a little olive. And so Ladybug Blue is really excited about this challenge. And so what happens next is Ladybug Blue has a list of families that said, hey, we want to adopt. Let us know if a little veggie comes along. And so the first stop was with a zucchini family. Didn't quite work out because time went on and their vine grew and they have so many little baby zucchini or courgettes. So it moves on. Then the next stop is a purple bean family. They've already, in the book, you'll see that they've already adopted a baby carrot. I always say they adopted outside of their vegetable. And, but they decided to pass because they wanted to try on their own one more time. And so that touches a little bit about infertility and why some people decide to adopt. And then the third family is a strawberry family. And I was really intentional about this particular page. When you get the book, you'll see, actually, I can show you here. The strawberry family here, and so I'll just show you really quick. This is the little courgette family, the little zucchini family. But when they get to the strawberry family, which I'll show briefly right here, they're upside down. And that was intentional because this family, when Ladybug shows the picture of Sweet Baby, they said, oh my gosh, how dare you? Please, she'll never look like us. Move on. And it is a sad part of the book, but it's the reality of my journey. And that's the most important part I want people to understand. This book isn't about an adoption journey. This is specifically to my adoption journey. I do understand that everybody's journey is completely different and outcomes are different. And this is how mine turned out. And then the night fades into the book, and then in the distance, the Ladybug Blue sees a more mature vine and the Love family and says, aha, let me see if they are available. But by this time, Ladybug is a little frustrated and it thinks that he may not find a home for Sweet Baby Red.
You touched on several, the steps that the book took on the different families. Can you go back just a little bit and talk about your own life and about equity and the challenges that came about and what brought you to that particular story in, that particular, the illustration and what that meant to you and how you were able to express yourself through that?
Absolutely. So I would last year, my 50th birthday, I cannot believe I just said that on Zoom, but I did. My father passed away before I found out about my discovery. But last year on my birthday, my mother gave me the gift of telling me my true birth story. And she said that she and my father had moved to New Jersey. And when they got there, she was told, that she was not able to have children. So time passed, and one Sunday morning they were sitting at the kitchen table and they opened up the newspaper, and there was this huge spread on adoptive children that needed a home, and they were all Black and mixed race kids, and this was back in the 70s.
Wow.
And during that time, Black and mixed race kids, it was really difficult to place them in a home. I mean, it's still really difficult to even place Black children who have two Black parents in homes. It's a little bit easier now in the United States for mixed race kids, but it's still unfortunately really difficult for Black children. And back then, I was told that Black people didn't want to adopt a child that they knew was connected to a white family, and white families did not want to adopt children that were connected to a Black family. It was just too risky. But my parents filled out an application. They got a call about 3 or 4 months later. And I was presented to them, and the agency told them, we want to let you know there's something about her. And they thought that the agent was going to tell them that I was sick. But she said, this is a mixed race child. Are you sure you want to take her? And my parents were like, absolutely, this is an innocent baby. We don't see her, we just see her as this baby. What kind of people do you think we are? And so that's what my book, that's what that particular page talks about, or is about, with the Strawberry family saying, let me see, find that page again, where he's showing the picture and the strawberries, and they were saying, you know, she'll never look like us. I definitely don't want people to think that, oh, you know, we select kids only. There's something wrong with selecting kids that look like me. There isn't anything wrong, but in this particular context, it was, I was hinting on my forward about the difficulties that, you know, I could have faced as a mixed race child.
You know, one of the things I just want to put a little note out there, a legal interest of people that are going to be watching this later on. It's about the birth certificate. Many of the states in the United States has not passed laws to get their original birth certificates. And as an advocate and somebody that's gone through this DNA surprise myself, as you have, Janeen, we want everybody to have their birth certificate, their original birth certificate. They have a right to know and have that information. And I had to put that out there. Janeen, I know you have your own story about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. I do not have the legal rights to view my original birth certificate, the birth certificate that had my original birth name and my original birth parents. I have to go through a lot, getting signatures and notarization, and I have to go to the court and explain why. I just want to see it, but I'm legally not allowed to view it.
We're just hoping, we keep hoping and putting out good vibes out there that the whole United States will figure this out, as the changes are coming, but more needs to be done.
I do want to add, though, I'm not allowed to see it because my adoption was sealed at the time. Open adoptions can see it, but it's the sealed adoptions where you can't see them.
I know, we got to get past that. We're not
Absolutely.
in the 1960s and 70s anymore, right?
Right.
So not to put you on the spot, though, what would you say to those who may see this as sugarcoating a very difficult situation for many who are adopted and whose stories are not as kind?
That's a great question. You know, as I said, this is my journey. I was placed in a really wonderful family. I had a beautiful life. I'm even really blessed and very lucky that my birth parents, both of them, actually wanted to meet me. That is not the case with a lot of people that I know who are adopted. They either find them too late, they've passed, or they are when they find their family, they're not interested in them or meeting them, or the adopted family, if it's a sealed adoption, they don't want you to seek. And so, you know, the only thing that I can say is just to write out your feelings, write out your thoughts, and just put it out there. When you get that out there, then you can go back and you can analyze and look, and you can really see physically how you're feeling and the journey in your journey. Because even in a particular moment when you feel like you haven't moved forward and you're still dealing with the same pain, I think that when you write and you can go back and look from day one, you can say, you know what, I actually, that particular thing that was bothering me or was a frustration for me isn't that bad. And those tiny little wins really gives you a beam of hope. And
Yeah.
so my suggestion is to write, and talk about it to anyone. I'm not exaggerating. I was talking to animals. I was talking to the birds. I was talking to rabbits. I even one time talked in a bottle and just threw it out in the ocean, because when I first found out, I had to get the pain off of me. And so I say, write and talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we know DNA surprises in adoption, family secrets, any of this stuff is
Absolutely.
very difficult to process. We all know that. I love what you did in this book. It's a very healing book for you and your family. And I just have to say that you've shared, one of the questions I was about to ask you was about what you would, want to say to folks about how do they handle what, the stress of what this brings on and the anxiety. And I think writing is absolutely a fabulous way. I do want to recommend, because we do a lot of mental health work, obviously in the RN group, the registered nurse NPN group, we always recommend, if you need counseling for anybody out there, please seek counseling. And there are some licensed therapists in your state that are there for you and can help you out. If you need help with finding a therapist, you can also reach us at NPN, Nurses for NPEs, okay? The last thing I want to just say here is we understand everybody that has gone through these difficult types of scenarios. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Janeen, you want others to understand the uniqueness in this book and the story that you brought to your son, and that in your life now, you're learning to celebrate and bring normalizing what has happened to you. Can you bring up anything else that you would want to say before we end our call here, our time together?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add was when I talked about writing, I wrote about my whole journey on a blog and during the pandemic, and I put it out there and I said, it's out and there's a lot of pain in there, but we'll see what happens. And I could not believe how many people were making just wonderful comments and telling me how strong I am, or coming out to say I had an NPE situation in my family, or I know somebody else, and I'm so happy that you wrote this blog. And if you go to JaneenJackson.com, that's JANEEN Jackson.com, there you will find a tab for my blog, which is called Mixed Up Diary. I go from 2018, from 2017, actually, from the death of my father, what led me all the way up to this book and all the way to my 50th birthday party. I have videos, I have music, I have clips, I have text. I even put my DNA results on there. And I use that as a tool to just heal. So that was the last thing that I definitely wanted to mention. If people wanted to read about my story, it's JaneenJackson.com.
Thank you, Janeen, so much. We have put the website up in the link in our chat. We are ending our time here with Janeen on our live, and we'll be ending the recording. And we're so happy for those that join us. This will be available on NPN, Nurses for NPEs on YouTube. And we just congratulate you on your work, Janeen. This is so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you again.
You're gonna do fabulous. I'm just so a little tidbit. I volunteer with King County Library System. It's the third largest library system in the United States. No, actually the universe, I think. The world is what I believe I was told this past meeting I went to. I have put a tidbit in for you, and I'm hoping we can get your book here in the King County Library System in
Oh,
Washington
Alesia, thank
State.
you so much.
I'm super
Thank
excited
you.
about this. So thank you, everybody out there in Zoom land, and we're going to stop recording now, and we're going to go to our audience. Take care, everybody.